short thought on Chanukah to share is I think we all know the number 8. The number 8 is quite a mysterious, miraculous number. There's a lot of 7s, and then there's 8. There's 7 days of the week, there's the 7 days of creation, and then there's 8. And I think the way that we generally view the number 8 is that it's 7, and then there's, if you're not within the 7, you're in the 8. And 8 is above that 7. But just to explain it one dot deeper, to give us a new appreciation, because of course, Chanukah is 8 days. So to give a few places where we find the 7, and then where we find the 8, and then to explain it for one dot, there are 7 days of Sukkot, and then the 8th day is Shmini Atzeres, a yontif, just us and Hashem. During the 7 days of Sukkot, we bring 70 animals as karbanos for the goyim, for the natural world. And then there's this 8th day, just us and Hashem. Bris Milah is, of course, on the 8th day, the day that's above time. The 7, as we mentioned, are the 7 days of creation. In the Beis Hamikdash, there was an instrument called the kinar with 7 strings. And the Mefarshim explained that Lasid Lavai, there's going to be an 8th string that will be on this instrument, the 8th note, the note of the supernatural. And then, of course, we have Chanukah. We have the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash with its 7 branches. And then we have the 8 days of Chanukah in which this dot of oil lit a bit more. So in a very simple explanation, what happened when they found this dot of oil? What happened was, explains the Maral, that the menorah with its 7 branches stood in the Heichal. The Beis Hamikdash is comprised of 2 parts. You have the outer area, and then you have inside the Kodesh HaKodashim. Says the Maral, the outer area, the Heichal, this 7-branched menorah is representative of this world, of nature, of the physical, of things that we could understand, tangible. And that was the area that the Yavanim, that the Greeks penetrated, made impure. And what happened during the miracle of Chanukah? What happened is this small group of Jews, the Chashmonaim, went and they found, after winning the war, they found this dot of oil. And where do they find it? We all know, with the seal of the Kohen Gadol. The seal of the Kohen Gadol, representative of the 8 garments that he wore, of the higher than Teva, higher than nature. And then, of course, that oil burnt for the 8 days. So what's happening on Chanukah is we're taking something which is at some level natural, this 7-branched menorah, and it's lighting for 8. We're taking something that's on this world, and then we're elevating it to the next world. And that is really a very short synopsis of the Nes of Chanukah. And what does that have to do with us is perhaps very, very simple. We could explain this on a very deep level. The Maral explains at length that whether it's, we can understand, we know there's the word uz yashir. The word uz is aleph, zayin. Zayin is the 7 of the natural, and that aleph is the 1 on top of the natural. That's when we're going beyond. What happens when we go beyond? What happens when we go beyond is that's when we see miracles. When we don't attach ourselves to what has to be. There's what has to be, what should be. Nature, our regular lives, things, our limitations, our problems, our issues, our fights, our struggles. That's the natural world. And then there is one who goes that extra aleph, that extra 8th, that final day when it's just with Hashem, that he goes a bit above. That he doesn't say, I'm confined by my natural abilities. I'm confined by my issues, my struggles, my circumstances. But rather, he breaks free and he realizes that what made the 7, what made my struggles, my issues, my problems, who designed my circumstances, who created this situation that I seem to think I can't get out of. Who created those 7 days of creation? It, of course, is the one. It is the Hashem. It is that 8th entity that we could tap into. And if we realize and we recognize that just like the 7, the natural, is Hashem, then we could realize that there is no limitations. The same entity, the same God that says the oil could burn for 1 minute, could allow the oil to burn for 8 days straight. And when we think about it, and we try to tap into it, and we have a little bit left of Chanukah, and we try not to limit ourselves, to try to go a little bit beyond where we could be, then ultimately what happens is we get that bracha. Hashem reciprocates, and Hashem says to us, you're not going to be confined by what you think you're confined by. I'll allow you that extra. I'll give you that nace. I'll give you that miracle. I'll allow you to tap into the world of 8, to the world of Chanukah, to the world of Aseh Lavai, and hopefully B'siyata D'Shmaya, as we gather together to learn a little bit, to be a little bit bigger, a little bit greater, a little bit deeper. Hopefully we'll be able to tap into the wonderful Koichais, powers, spiritual energy that's hidden, latent within Chanukah, as we have a little bit of time left.